I'd like to talk about one of my absolute passions, team. So how do you get a kick-ass team without first kicking your team's ass? Team and culture are about the two most misunderstood words in the business world, and yet you can't build your business to any huge level of success without first creating a team. Team and culture is not about pinball machines and table tennis tables and beanbags and high ropes courses, or end-of-year drink sessions. People don't come to work to play table tennis and sit in beanbags. They come to work for autonomy, for mastery, to create purpose, and yes, for fun. Culture is quite simply the habits of the team. It's how we do things around here. So how do you do things around there? Did you know that research shows that in most businesses, 20% of people are actively engaged? They're providing 80% of the value to any business. 60% are sort of engaged, they're in the middle, and 20% are actively disengaged. They are, in effect, terrorists. Now, I want you to think about how would our society look if 20% of us were saboteurs or terrorists? It would look pretty scary, right? So are you teaching the interpersonal skills, the team processes and structures that allow your organisation to thrive and to achieve its highest purpose? Let's start with interpersonal skills as an example. Are you teaching them or even modelling them? Did you know 80% of workers feel unappreciated at work? By the way, if you're wondering, does the number change for bosses? Yeah, it does. It actually goes up by 7%. All because we don't value each other enough to say thanks. I'll give you an example of how just one little skill can transform a workplace. Let's start with appreciation. How to appreciate someone's effort. Okay, first of all, you need to do it habitually. Do it all the time. It's how we do things around here. Secondly, do it authentically. Be real in your praise of others. Thirdly, do it promptly. As soon as someone's helpful, say thanks so much for what you did just then. Fourthly, do it proportionately. Don't give small praise for a big thing, and neither should you give big praise for a small thing. And finally, do it specifically. Say exactly what it is that you appreciate in what the person just did for you. What gets measured gets done. What gets noticed gets done repeatedly. Now think for a sec. How many people do you know who do this well? There's just not very many, right? And if you can think of someone like this, they're likely already respected by you and by others. And that's just one skill. If you mastered that skill, do you think it would make a positive change to your team tomorrow? What if you mastered hundreds of other skills just like it? Skills that were just as teachable as that. What if you taught your team how to use these skills as well, as a habit, as the way we do things around here? Would that make a difference? I think you know the answer. You bet it would. Now, there are also team skills, and it would astound you to see how many businesses have the right people, but they just have them in the wrong place. They've got introverted systems experts selling stuff on the front desk. They've got social extroverts locked away in the back office. And they've got people who just want a list devising the marketing strategy, while creatives are looking over spreadsheets. And then when the extrovert keeps coming out the front to talk to people, and the introvert blows a foo-foo valve because they're sick of being interrupted, or the creative's sick of being told what to do, or the doer needs more guidance, we blame the person we hired instead of the person who did the hiring and put them in that job. When things go wrong, this is what we call a fundamental attribution error. What looks on the surface to be a people issue or a team issue is actually an allocation of resource issue. You put a square peg in a round hole. Now, do you think if you had the right people doing the right tasks, you might have a more productive, less stressful workplace? Again, I think you know the answer. You bet you would. And how to profile people, how to allocate their talents to the right position in your team is, again, one of many teachable skills, one among hundreds that can be taught. Another reason some people get kick-ass teams and others just get their ass kicked is this. They have an inspiring vision. Do you have an inspiring vision for doing what you do? A why? Because that is quite simply the best bait you can possibly have to attract the very best people. Simon Sinek rightly said, people don't buy what you sell, they buy why you do it. Now, while he might have been talking about customers, the same holds true for your team. Are your team walking, talking examples of the values of your company? Better question, are you? Or are they just there to exchange hours for dollars? You've got to give people something to believe in. Good people, great people, are attracted to big, bold visions. Do you have one? Finally, I know that there are some leaders who are watching this and they see this team stuff as a bit fluffy, a bit warm and fuzzy, sit around the fire and sing Kumbaya. Now, nothing could be further from the truth. You need to systematise team and culture just like anything else in your business, and you can. In fact, you must. The people who least value team tend to think a bit like this. I gave them a job, I pay them, just do it. But there are systems in place to make that happen. So I ask you, do you have a documented onboarding process? Do you have a documented job description for each member with documented KPIs and critical drivers? Do people report back to you on these? Is there a documented review process for team? Is there a process for rewarding people? Now, do you think these things, these systems, would help? Again, you bet they would. You know what? If you think you can be a kick-ass entrepreneur and you don't want to kick people in the ass, then you need to remember this. When the business is completely built and everything's perfect, you have the perfect machine, the only thing that's going to be left to do will be working with team. They need you and you need them. As we say here, the strength of the wolf is the pack and the strength of the pack is the wolf. So if you want a better pack, I think you should get in touch. Just book in a free diagnostic and we can have a chat about you and your team and how we can get better results for your pack. I'm Andrew Wright. Bye for now.